Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NPA Region 5 podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ankrah, President of the region which covers Lower Hudson Valley, Greater Newburgh, and Dutchess. And we are excited to be joined by our first guest, Dr. Mirjam Norris-Nommensen. Hi, Dr. Mirjam. Thank you so much for being with us. Are you there?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of this podcast today.
Excellent, excellent. So let's start with a few questions. What made you go through the rigors of becoming a nurse practitioner?
Well, when I was deciding to go to nurse practitioner school, a lot of changes were happening and had just happened. It was just 5 years prior that the nurse practitioners had earned prescriptive privileges and title protection, and the scope of practice was defined in the Nurse Practice Act. So I was very excited, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me, that I would be able to expand my practice by scope of practice and reach more people and be part of the solution, because there was such a demand for healthcare providers and so many people that were not able to get the care that they needed, that I thought it would be very excited to be able to assume that role. And therefore I decided to go to nurse practitioner school, and I went to Pace University, and it was a great experience.
Excellent, excellent. So once you finish nurse practitioner school, how did you get involved with the professional association, the New York State Nurse Practitioners Association?
Oh, my professors at Pace, they told me right away, when we had one course, and that was really a course that aimed to prepare us for practice. And they taught us about practice protocols and collaborative agreements and things like that. And one of the things that they emphasized in that class was that it was very important to become a member of a nurse practitioner association, because at the time there were not a lot of nurse practitioners, and it was very important to have that network and that support. And the Nurse Practitioner Association, at the time it was called the New York State Coalition of Nurse Practitioners, was the authority and the ultimate resource for anything that had to do with nurse practitioners. And they were right. In the early years of my practice, I ended up getting a job as a nurse practitioner in orthopedics, and there were many questions, and it was very difficult to find the answers because I didn't have any peers. And there was my answer: Seth Gordon and Barbara Zettel. They ended up being great resources, but also at the local level, there was just also I had peers who were able to tell me that it was going to be okay, and all the frustrations and difficulties that I was encountering, it would all work out. And that was a great help as a novice nurse practitioner.
Great move, great move. You have a lot of years of experience in the field. Could you share with us one of your most impactful cases?
It's very difficult to talk about a particular case, because in my different roles I have encountered different challenges, and it's more like groups of patients that I found pose a challenge and are very memorable. I find that I take with me a lot of times the patients that I was with at end of life. I feel that as a nurse practitioner, currently work as a nurse practitioner, hospitalist nocturnist. And in that role, in the dark of the night, in the quiet of the night, and people pass, and I really can make a difference with the families and the patients, to be there for them and guide them in their grieving and support them in the transition. So I think that is very impactful, and I take it with me. If if somebody can have a good death. It is, I think that's important.
Now, Mirjam, you sit on the board of Region 5 and very active in the day-to-day activities of the region. Could you share with us some of your responsibilities or tasks as a Region 5 board member?
Yes, I am involved in the I'm involved in the education committee, and I'm also involved in the outreach committee. And as a member of the outreach committee, we're currently working on a project for lifting up Westchester. Lifting Up Westchester is an organization that works to helping people in the community who are homeless or nearly homeless and find themselves in difficult situations, and they get help from this organization. They have a homeless shelter for men, for women, and families, and they also operate a soup kitchen and a food pantry. And what I'm very excited about with this organization is that they also provide education for women. So not only do they provide help immediately, but they also help them for the long term. And I think it is very, very exciting. And it also circles back to my original thoughts of why I wanted to become a nurse practitioner, to be able to help a greater population of people that have less access to care and address issues like the social determinants of health. And we can make a difference as nurse practitioners.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. For students and even experienced nurse practitioners who are ambivalent about joining their professional association, what message do you have for them? Why is it important to join the NPA?
Well, there are nearly 35,000 nurse practitioners in New York State, and they practice in 16 different specialties. And most of these nurse practitioners are actually adult nurse practitioners and family nurse practitioners. And the Nurse Practitioner Association is a organization that represents all nurse practitioners who are practicing in the state. And when nurse practitioners form a united front, they are strong and they are powerful and they can make a difference because numbers count. Our representatives in the legislation they listen to us because we are a big number. So the bigger number we are as an organization, we have a source of 35,000 nurse practitioners. If only half of them could be a member of the Nurse Practitioner Association, we would be so powerful and we really could bring about change.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mirjam, for joining us for this episode. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining in. Again, I'm Carl Ankrah, psychiatric nurse practitioner, Region 5 president, which covers the Lower Hudson, Greater Newburgh, and Dutchess County. I'll see you next time on our next round of our podcast. Thank you.